What is up, y'all? We are talking about Summer House Martha's Vineyard, episode 5. This is a good episode. You know, we obviously start off with the aftermath of this whole, like, Bria and Silas argument from last week. Obviously, I saw both sides of it. Like I said, I feel like Bria's man, I don't know what this hair is doing. Bria's man staying for 7 days is a long ass time. But also Silas and Jasmine said yes at the forefront. But whatever, they didn't really. It's not too much back and forth about that. At this point, it has just escalated, and the girls are screaming, and Jasmine's kind of like jumping into it on the merit of her being upset that Bria's getting into it with her man, so that's why Jasmine's in it, I guess. And last episode we saw, like, I don't know how this transpired, but when they were having a conversation about it, Silas gets into this point where he's calling Bria manipulative for whatever reason. He feels that way. So at that point, like Bria said last episode, like, okay, well, you're calling names, I'm gonna call you names. So she starts calling him controlling, and she's just like, you control Jasmine, like, everybody's been saying it, like, you know what I'm saying? So a name call for a name call. It is what it is. So now he's using that as ammo, and now his new argument as he goes around the house to tell everybody like what's going on. He just keeps telling everybody like she disrespected my wife, like she's saying Jasmine doesn't have a mind of her own. It's like, but that wasn't even your original argument, and like you call her manipulative, kind of out of nowhere. And she called you controlling, and obviously that hit a nerve. And Preston ate it. Like Preston summed it right on up. He said they're both right. Like at the end of the day, Bria's manipulative and Silas is controlling. So whatever. Like let's get drunk. Let's have a good time.
Y'all are all dumb as if we being honest.
I thoroughly enjoyed Preston this episode. He had the most sense. He may have always had the most sense. I don't know, but this is my first time noting it. He ate that. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's just have a good time. Like, what are y'all even talking about? Y'all are blowing me. So let's just get lit. And then we got Summer and Jason, who just walked in the house 3 hours ago. And Jason's very clear, like, girl, I didn't come here for this. Like,
let's just have a conversation and move past it. Like, I just came to this house and we be still talking about this and it's starting to irritate me. I'm just like, what the are we talking about? Like,
I don't even know what y'all talking about. We keep talking about the same thing.
Y'all need some lip gloss. Y'all mouth getting dry talking about the same thing.
Summer's just trying to get to know Alex. Like, but then Summer said she was attracted to Amir, right? I don't know where Summer stands. I'm not sure. But yeah, like, they just like, we just got here. Like, we trying to have a toga party. Like, let's have a good time. But, Jasmine's running through the house like, stay upstairs, Bria. Like we're in high school, I guess. Bria does indeed stay upstairs, and she's on the phone with her man, and she wants to pack and leave. But he's like, well, girl, I already bought my ticket. So we're going to sit right there. We're going to do what we have to do. So that's that. They continue to have a good night. They go and get in the hot tub. It was much better than that first episode obligatory hot tub scene that they did. Like, this one felt like they were just having a good time. They were playing games. We get back to what I said, where Summer had said that she was interested in Amir. I guess like initial interest was in Amir, but then later she was chopping it up with Alex, and then she was lap dancing on Nick. I don't know. I'm trying to follow that as well. But Summer's a cute girl. She's cool. And then we get to, basically, it just feels like every night we are waiting to hear / see Silas and Jasmine having sex. It's gotten old. We're 5 episodes in. It's gotten old. I understand that it's part of the storyline now, but I think that we can do just some referencing to it, and I think everybody will know exactly what we're talking about. Like, I don't think we need them on tracks anymore. Like, I don't think we need to see all of that anymore. I think we're done with that. I'm kind of surprised they didn't get into that. And I want them to. Again, not by like showing it, but like we can reference it. Like, as I was going, like everybody had a reaction to it. Like even Amir, whose room is right next to theirs, like he left out of his room to go sleep on the couch because they were so loud. And for me, absolutely the not. Like, it's giving. Like, no, I'm not leaving my room. Like, y'all need to be quiet. I would never. Absolutely not. And go sleep on the couch? No, I'm not doing that. So everybody seemed to have had a reaction to it, but nobody's really talking about it. But I'd be the first, especially if my name was Amir. But whatever. The next day we're getting ready for Jordan's celibacy brunch. I don't really know while we were having a celibacy brunch. I think it could have just like been a girls' brunch, and then they brought it up because it is an interesting topic. But like having a celibacy brunch felt weird. Like when they were talking about like basically when Jasmine came in Jordan's room and they were talking about like a brunch, I'm like, oh, Jordan's having the event. Like, did I miss something? Is it her birthday? And then Preston was like celibacy brunch, and I'm like, okay, like whatever. Brunch was cute. Like they dressed up. I didn't get too much into the fits, but they went to brunch, which was cute. And I do like the topics, like them talking about celibacy. That was interesting, and like hearing Jordan's backstory on that. But like then we get the weirdness from Jasmine, like basically just like, okay, well, where's your man? Basically, like it just always feels like Jasmine's like, okay, well, where's your man? Like she should just walk around with a sign, like where's your man? Like it just feels like that's what she's always focused on, and it's so weird. Like I'm not understanding where it's coming from. I wish we can get some more context because then I start to want to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, maybe it's just reading weird. Like maybe it just looks weird on camera, but then she gets into her confessionals and she's doubling down on it, and she's reading like when she first did it with Bria, she was just like, well, Bria dates a lot, and Bria just does whatever she wants. She's all over the place. And then Jordan, who's supposed to be a much closer friend to her, is from what I'm kind of understanding, she's just like, well, yeah, like I feel like Jordan doesn't have a plan. Like, what are you trying to do? And it's like, girl, she's trying to live her life. Like, I feel like that's very clear. And if you're not clear on it, go ask her, because she just told us. It only took 3 minutes for us to understand. Like, she's trying to live her life. She's minding her business. Like, why is that not enough? Like Jordan was saying, like she's just like, why is that not enough? I'm not understanding. I thought that was pretty weird on behalf of Jasmine, but of course, the big thing still is that Simon's coming. I wish Simon would bring his ass on because I'm so tired of talking about it. I do like. I was starting to see the discourse with the whole Bria thing because I live for Bria, but I know the girls were kind of mad at Bria about this whole Simon thing. Again, I understand her being upset because they initially said that he could stay for 7 days, and nobody has given us any rhyme or reason as to why he really can't stay for 7 days now. Like, you agreed and then you changed your mind. Let's discuss that. We haven't. I think that that's an issue. However, when Bria was talking this episode, and she was kind of just like venting to Simon. You could tell that she was upset, and Simon was just kind of like, it is what it is. Like, who cares? You know, like, whatever. Like, because she was upset and she was just kind of going off and saying stuff that didn't matter. But she said something to the effect of, like, they're judging him. And I feel like he's coming in and they're already judging him. And I'm like, that didn't happen. I think that she was being emotional about it because A, she was super excited for him to come, and B, like, you know, I think she was feeling anxious because she wanted it to be perfect, and she was excited. She wanted everybody else to be excited, and she wanted it to go well. So I think that she was feeling the pressure of that, and that made her kind of like get dramatic and be like, oh, they're judging him, because that's just not what it gave. Like, I think she had really kind of reached out for that one. But I don't think that it was disingenuous. Like, I think she genuinely felt that way, but that's because she was in her feelings at that point. So it's like, girl, like, nobody was judging him. Like, it is weird that they say he could stay for 7 days and then they switched it up. That is weird. But nobody's against Simon. We don't even know Simon. But then that does take me to, like, even with Silas being kind of weird, just like Jasmine, even at least he was just like, you know, I'm excited to meet Simon. And then Jasmine was like, well, I'm not. Still picking up on this argument like, well, she got into it with my man, so now I don't want to meet hers. And it's like, girl, shut up, because nobody wants to meet you either. Like, come on now. Be for real. I forgot to mention that brunch. Like, Summer crying over her man. Like, I get that we're on TV, and I guess it does give more story to it. And like I keep saying, I've never watched the Summer House, so I don't know if this is normal. But like crying over your ex on TV is wild. Like I hate that. Like I get that's natural. Like that'll happen. She's being real. But I was just thinking about it. I'm like, damn, I would hate that to be me. Like that is wild. But kudos to her for doing the thing, like being on the show and being vulnerable and being herself. But I had just taken a mental note, like, We get back to the house though. She's clearly over it because she's cooling and she's gone to some portion of the house that it doesn't seem like anybody goes to, and that will be Alex's room. And I like that she got to like have a conversation with Alex and see what was going on with him, and it seemed like they connected. And even Alex was like, finally somebody in the house that I can vibe with. So I like that that was highlighted, and it doesn't seem like it's coming off like not natural because it was kind of like Alex wasn't really involved with the group. Even though I really like Alex for whatever reason, I do. But he doesn't really get involved with the group. So I like that he has somebody now that he feels like he can vibe with. And I think that she's gonna make him come around the group more. So then he can vibe with the group more as well. We then get into like the dinner that they did, basically Summer's dinner, and no notes there really. Like the food sounded bomb, but I'm with Jasmine. Like I don't really do spice either, so I really want to know like how spicy the food was because I just felt like as they were talking about it and somebody was like my tongue went numb and they're like all this type of, I'm like ooh, I could just feel it happening. I'm like ooh, I hate spicy food like that too, especially because the food looks so good. So it's like, oh, we could eat good tonight, but it's like, dang, everything's spicy. So I don't know. I was wondering that as I was watching, but no real notes there. And then they got into like the truth or dare game. The game was fun. Like no real notes there either. I realized that I missed it. So I guess that there was a scene where they were out shopping and Silas asked Summer like, is Amir still your number one draft pick? And she was like, no, it's giving Alex. I don't know how I missed that, but I just saw it. So that did occur. So then the guys, like they're showing everybody like during the day. So they cut to the guys, they went out to lunch, and Amir starts talking about how like, he's trying to court Jordan or whatever, but he's not feeling the energy back from her. I already said a long time ago I didn't see this going anywhere. Like I wasn't buying it. I just, whatever. I thought that they were just being friendly. I'm kind of glad that we get to like cut through the bullshit of that now, like the flirting or whatever. It was cute for a couple episodes, but I'm glad that we're over that. And it was interesting to like hear his perspective though, that like he feels like he's courting her and he's not getting the energy back. That's interesting, I guess. But I like that we cut to the fact with Jordan when she was just like, that's a dub. Like, I'm not feeling him like that. Perfect. Like, what's the real? What's going on? But then we get more weirdness from Jasmine, who's just like, well, girl, like, what do you have going on? Where's your man? Like, it's just like, why do you do that? Especially, like, to somebody that's portrayed as like a close friend of yours, like you're supposed to be close friends. It's weird that you have this dynamic where you're talking to your homegirl and you always like, where's your man? And then you're doubling down like, well, she does need a man. Like, that's just such a weird perspective to have, especially with what we know is coming from Jasmine down the line. But we won't fast forward to anything, but it's just like, why does she keep taking that position? And then when it comes to like Bria and Jordan, it's just like, why do you have such negative thoughts about their dating lives? Like, it's kind of weird. And it's just like, what kind of expertise does Jasmine believe that she has? It's very confusing to me. Later on, when they're getting ready for dinner, for like when Simon's coming and they're gonna go to Bria's dinner, Jordan is downloading Preston, and she just let him know, like, I had a conversation with Jasmine, and I just really wasn't feeling like the interaction. But at the same time, Jasmine is having a conversation as well with Summer, and she's saying, I had a weird conversation as well with Jordan. So they both already know that the conversation didn't go well, and they're just basically giving their perspectives on it. I'm not sure. It's a weird disconnect for me that Jasmine can recognize, because she says it all the time. Like, she recognizes the disconnect that she has with her friends now because she's married, but it doesn't seem like she's trying to reconcile. Like, it doesn't seem like she's trying to look inside herself and say, well, what might I be doing that comes off this way? She's acknowledging like, okay, what I say can be perceived as judgy, and she's saying I'm not trying to be judgy, but I don't think that she's taking a moment to think about why it's coming off that way, because it does come off very judgy, and it comes out more weird than anything. It's giving weird. Like, why do you care so much? Is really how it is, because you don't even have a perfect relationship. Like, we don't even really know much about that besides how much y'all have on camera, but it still feels weird. Like, we as a collective feel like Silas is a little bit controlling and you just kind of go along to get along. So they talk about that, and I agree with Jordan. And I'm glad that Jordan is articulating it. Like, Jasmine's being weird at the end of the day. Like, and it's just like, why is it not enough for me to be single? Like, I'm fine being single, and I'm glad she broke that down because there are a lot of people out here that I feel like are just very codependent on relationships, and it's just like not everybody feels like they need to be in a relationship. I don't see what the big deal is. Like, I'm not understanding what the problem is. So I'm with Jordan when she's continuously asking, like, what is the issue? Because I'm also wondering, what is the issue? Simon comes. He seems like a nice guy. He brought the bottle of liquor. I'm with the group. Like, you brought the bottle. Cool. Let's have a good time. Like, sounds good to me, especially if it's tequila. So I'm with Silas when he said that. I was confused about Nick having an issue with Simon's velvet blazer. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I did think that they were a little overly dressed. I didn't really understand the occasion, I guess. But in terms of it being velvet, that seemed to be Nick's gripe with the jacket. I didn't understand it. I wish I had some more explanation there. But no notes other than that. Everybody looked great. I loved being able to see the dynamic. First, the watch thing. I guess I'll talk about the watches first. Cool. Like, I'm not really a watch person, but great. You got us watches. They look like nice watches. Great. I like that Bria got Silas and Jasmine wedding gifts, and it doesn't give beef. And I like that her and Silas had they had that moment. And Silas, he comes out across very likable. I be trying to separate the two. Like, who do I feel like is the issue? Is it Silas or is it Jasmine, or are they an issue together? So I be trying to get into that, and I feel like I have more moments of liking Silas than I do of Jasmine. So in this moment, I was just seeing like, okay, Silas seems like he can be a nice guy. He was like, I'll get emotional and blah 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 blah. So, but I still, the petty in me still wants to understand why you told me my man could stay for 7 days and then you switched up. Like, I still want to know. Like, not that it's any beef. I just still want to know. But let's move forward. I just like the dynamic of seeing, like, I think it highlighted to me that, like, a lot of times Silas speaks for the couple. Like, they were having a conversation, and Silas spoke out like he typically does, and he was just saying, like, well, we like seeing people in their relationships, and like, it's nice having a partner, and blah 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 blah. And typically Jasmine will just go along with it, but this time it was nice to see her say, like, I'm actually struggling quite a bit with this. And I'm like, great. Like, thank you for entering the conversation as a human. But it's confusing. And we get this weird juxtaposition because it's just like, you always be so hunk the horn on them, Greg. And like, my man, my man, my man. And my friends are trash. Like, Jordan's weird because she don't want a man. Bria can't keep a man. Like, you always come off so weird. But now you're showing us this human side of you. And we can understand it because being in a relationship is hard. Ain't nobody really, it's a lot going on, but you be acting like, sometimes you act like it is, sometimes you act like it ain't. Like, I don't know where Jasmine coming from, but I appreciate her in this moment. It seems like just blatantly coming out and being like, baby, that's cute what Silas is saying, and he loves it, and he's much more optimistic, but me over here is much. And she started getting emotional, so I'm excited to see that. I hope that she doesn't like brush past it. She does seem like when she forms an opinion, she sticks to it and she'll verbalize it, even if it's adverse to Silas. So hopefully she speaks on it more and we get to hear about it. Because at the end of the day, like, be proud that you're married. That's great. That's awesome. But don't act like everything in your relationship is so perfect. So I'm glad that we're getting to see that side. And let's see what happens with that. And I'm also not clear. So are they saying now that, like, I'm still stuck on this, as y'all can tell. Are they saying now that Simon can stay for 7 days or no? I need to get off of it. I need to let it go. I thought it was a really good episode. I think we got stuff from everybody on the cast. And yeah, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I actually really like Jason and Summer. I feel like they came in there asking the right questions. A lot of Jason's questions are like, what the hell is going on? And I appreciate that. Because it's like, yeah, what is going on? Honestly. So I enjoyed that. Shanice is back next week. So we'll see. And I will see y'all next time.